Hello my crafty friends, I'm Lesley and thank you so much for stopping by Crafty Cards with Lesley. I love the Cheerful Daisies set by Stampin' Up, but at this time of year, daisies aren't hardly the flowers that are popping up in my garden. So I thought I'd change the colour up and give it a sort of an autumn chrysanthemum look. Not really chrysanthemum, but you know what I mean. Just sort of have a fall look to it just by changing the colours up. And I always like to get more mileage from my stamps. So let's just jump right in and I'll show you how I made these two-toned flowers. So this is the card we're going to be making today, and I think it's so pretty. I'll show you first of all what I used. The little panel in the center, it may look as though it's a rectangular shape, but it's actually a square one. And I used this little scalloped square. It's a 3-inch square. I'm not sure the brand, of course it doesn't have it in. It may be Memory Box, but I'm not 100% sure. So that's what the square scallop is. Cheerful Daisies, of course, by Stampin' Up. I used this, the leaves on here. I just love the dies that come with this set, or you can get with this set. And it's this one that I used here. And it cuts out 2 at a time going in different directions, which is perfect. Encircled in Nature, that one's called, also by Stampin' Up. The little sentiment is an old one from Close to My Heart, Thanks a Bunch, but I'm going to change it up for the one that we're going to make today. The one we're going to make today, I'm using this set here, and it's by Lawn Fawn, this one, and it's quite a nice one because it's got a stamp and it's also got the die. So I'm going to do the hugs on this one. And then one of my favorite embossing folders is this one, Forever Plaid. And that's what I used on the center panel here, the 3-inch panel. So I'll pop those there. So let me start off by doing the flowers. I'm just going to move this out of the way, give myself a little bit more room. I am going to use my stamping platform for this one. I'm just going to move this way out of the way so we don't get it all messed up. And now I've moved this out of the way, I need to get this one back. So we're going to use the Cheerful Daisies ones for this one. I have some already, but I thought I would just show you how I got the 2 tones. Very, very easy. So I used the Pumpkin Pie, which is it's quite an old one that I'm using, but it still works. And this one is So Saffron, but I actually re-inked it with Daffodil Delight. And then I'm going to use the Espresso by Close to My Heart, which is almost identical to Early Espresso by Stampin' Up. So I encourage you to use whatever it is that you have, and yeah, just have fun with it. So the stamps that we need, I'll show you how to, as I said, do the 2 tones. So I'll do the daisy, the large daisy, so you can see a little easier. I won't do the whole thing. Okay, so if you can see, one's quite a smooth surface and the other's got a lot of lines. So we're going to use the smooth one first. And as I said, I'm going to use my stamping platform just because I want to go over it a few times, and that way it's going to be an accurate re-inking. Sometimes the clear ones actually are not too bad to see, but quite often you don't line them up, well, I don't line them up exactly. So I'm going to start with the lightest color and then build on it from there. So we'll do the Daffodil Delight. Actually, let me move some stuff out of the way. Move that one. My card. Just stand it up over here. You can't see it, but you don't need to at this stage. So it's more important that you see this part of it. So I'm just going to give it a good press and then just press down. And that moved, but that's okay because it's still in the corner. And again. And I'll do it one more time. Okay, so that's a really nice impression, and that would be great as a daisy. Yellow daisies. But we're going to add a little bit of this one, the orangey tone. You can do browns if you want, or well, any sort of autumn colors will work too. Add a touch of sort of muted greens in there, and that will work too. So what I'm going to do with this, grab hold of your stamp pad and just sort of drag it down. Hopefully you can see that one. I've got the reflection of the light in that one. So just drag it across the end. Let me just move this up a little bit more so you can hopefully see it a little clearer. Try and get the glare of the light out of it. So just drag it over the sides, and with it being on a stamping platform, you can apply the ink as many times as you want. So you see how you get that nice sort of gradient look to the color. Put a little bit more on the top here, and just a little bit more on the bottom. So that's all you need to do for your colouring. You can build the layers up by all means if you want to add more colour. What I will do next though is just to take this one here. I'm going to stamp this one. I'm going to line it up. But if you do need to add more colour, yeah, add it before you do this part. And this is easier said than done. Didn't have this problem when I was doing the other ones. Oh, here we go. So it's a bit more difficult to get my head right over the top, but I think you'll get the idea. So I'll just wipe this one off. And give it a little dry. So what I did when I did mine, I put them all on at once, and it saves a lot of time. The same with my, when I die cut them out, I've got them all in the same position. So as you can see, I did quite a few. So, but to run them through the die cut machine all at the same time is great. And then it saves a huge amount of different steps. You're doing everything at once. Okay, so hopefully that's lined up. So I'm going to take my, where is it, my Espresso, and this is going to do all the outlines, hopefully. Okay, pretty close. That's one thing nice about the photopolymer stamps. You can see them, and definitely you see them a lot easier when you don't have a camera and lights in front of you. But that's pretty close. I'm quite pleased with that one. Okay, let's just wipe this off, and we'll just do the center, and then that daisy's all ready to be cut out. So there are a couple of different centers on here. There's a large one for the large daisies, and then a smaller one for the smaller daisies. So let's just, that goes about that way. Not as critical with the center. And I'm going to stamp that one in black. And this is just the Memento Tuxedo black. My favorite black. And of course I've managed to get it on there, but that's okay. Easily wipes off. Okay, so I think that's it for that one. I'll show you the dies, and so the die is the large one here, and you just pop it right down there. See if we can get here we go again. Now there's small little bunches. I think that's it. Yes. Okay, so all I do when I die cut is just obviously line it up like that, and this one's quite an easy one to die cut because it's got a nice definite outline. And then I just take some pieces of washi tape and just pop that down, and then run it through my Big Shot, and then it's all good to go and play with. So that's the stage we're at now. So I'll just pop that one aside and I'll add that one to my collection. As you can see, I've done quite a few, so I always like to do more than one card. And this one, actually, I'm in a monthly card group swap, so I think this is going to be this month's card swap. Okay, so let us start putting this card together. So these are all my daisies all done, the 2 tones in various sizes. I'll bring this one back in now. And let's assemble the card. Let's actually, before we start doing that, let's actually put the card together, the base card. So I've got a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm doing this tent fold. I did this one to open this way, but I think I'm going to do this tent fold. And this is just some from my scrap. It's got a little texture to it. I think it's basil paper, but I thought it went fairly well with the ink colors. So I always like to use what I have, and I'm just going to use a tape, my tape runner, to stick this down. You can use glue or whatever adhesives you like to use. Okay, I'm just going to pick this up and match the corners up. I'm going to have to do a little trimming. Now, just bring my paper trimmer in and just snip a little bit off. I always make my own card bases, so sometimes they're not exactly what they're supposed to be, but they're very easy to trim. Just like that, and that's good. Okay, the next step is the front panel. Now what I did with this one here is I did some splatter stamping. Now if you don't have a little splatter stamp, this one I use all the time. It's one from a set from Close to My Heart, but you can find the splatter stamps in quite a lot of stamps that I call them filler stamps. So quite often you'll get a stamp set and there'll be a splatter stamp in there, or a little heart or a little star. But I always keep this out. This is always on my table because I use it just about, well, if I need a splatter stamp, I use this one all the time. So I will bring the pumpkin pie back in. And I'm just going to do the splatter stamp down at the bottom. So I want to have something to sort of anchor my flowers. And I'm going to rotate the stamp. I don't want exactly the same design going in the same, don't want it too uniform looking. I want it to look like a splatter. Okay, I think that should probably be enough. So let's go ahead and stick this one down. So this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This one is just 1/8 of an inch smaller all the way around. So it's, I wrote it down here, 4 inches by 5 1/4, and we'll just go and use my tape runner to pop that one down. Make sure it's going open the right way. I've been known to put them on upside down. Okay, so that just gives you a nice border. With this one, I didn't put one on, but I thought it just adds a little bit more color. I tend not to make 2 cards exactly the same, but close to it. So the next thing we're going to do is to add this, and this is a 3-inch square. I just marked it on the back so I wouldn't forget. I'm just going to use dimensionals. I used quite thick foam tape on this one. I think it's a little bit too thick to go through the mail, so I think that one's going to be hand delivered. By the time I got the foam tape on the back and then foam tape underneath the flowers, it's quite thick. You can mail them, but it just costs extra for postage, so I think we pay enough as it is. And I'll just put one in the middle, I think. Actually, I'll put 2 in the middle. We don't want it sagging. And I need another one on that side. Okay. So let's try and center this one. And the white cardstock that I'm using is the thick basic white. I think that's about in the middle. Okay, so I call it flower arranging. So let's pick a couple of flowers. So some of them are these ones I started off doing them first, and they're more of a solid color. These ones I use the two, as you can see, they're quite a bit different. So I use the two-toned ones. So I'm going to go ahead and use the two-toned ones. So these are going to go down here. Or I could use a solid one on that one. Mix it up a little bit. Why not? And then that one over there. More or less how I did that one. Okay, and these ones, the leaves, now you could cut them out of just regular cardstock in a green or whatever, but these ones I didn't cut them out of white paper. But before I cut them out, I just took a blending brush and I used Mossy, Meadow and Toffee, and just basically made a mess on a paper and then just cut it out. But it gives you that sort of variety of color. So I'm going to go ahead and stick these down first, and we'll use the dimensionals again for these ones. I always think that leaves aren't a solid color, so I do like to blend them with ink rather than just cutting them out of just solid cardstock. Now if you're in a rush and you want to do multiples, just go ahead and do the cardstock. Now as you can see, this one I didn't cut it out exactly as it should be. It's not quite centered. Now I could go around and fussy cut that out, but it's just going to go back out onto white paper, so you're not really going to see the extra bits on the edge. If it bothers you, just go ahead and fussy cut that little bit. I always try and get them exactly even all the way around, but it's inevitable that some of them aren't. Now, okay, so with these ones I didn't put whole pieces on, I just snapped them off. So let's just go ahead and we'll just tuck a few in and see where we want them first. And as I said, I do like these because they're going in different, they're sort of bowed together, so it makes for a nice frame, I think, around the card. Oops. Tuck one in down there. I always like to sort of position things first before I go and stick them down. And where else shall we have one? Okay, I think that looks good. Not exactly the same as that, but as I said, no two cards, well, not of mine anyway, no two cards ever look exactly the same. So let's go ahead, and I've just got some white glue in my little needle nose dispenser, and let's just go and pop this down. Now I'm not going to stick each individual leaf down, I'm just going to sort of run it down the center, just a little bit on the bottom there. It leaves the leaves a little bit more free flowing. I'm just going to go around clockwise, that way I won't forget any. Now you could put your sentiment up at the top, but as you can see, this was one that I actually printed out and made a little boo-boo, so I just used the back side of it to stamp. Tuck that one in. This is always the fun part, I think. see it all come together. Now these ones are very similar, so let's just going to just pull off that one. Don't want them to look identical all in a row there. We can tuck this one underneath here. Some have got little stems sort of sticking out of the top, but that's okay. That's what it looks like in nature. Don't want it too perfect and matchy-matchy, I don't think. And do we need another one? Maybe one going this way. But you can add as little or as much as you want in the greenery. Just lift that up and tuck it underneath. Yeah, I think that's better. So, my little sentiment. Now, I did make some already with the little slits across there, but I thought this hug, and I just did it in the pumpkin pie. So it just sort of blends in. It doesn't stand out too much, but I'm just going to put one of these little foam strips underneath, and I've got one that's probably just about the right size. So we'll do this in 2 stages because that little bit goes up in the middle there. We don't want to see the foam tape. Snip that off. And then we'll put a piece going this way. Okay, now where to put this? I think just let's pop it down here. There. Now one thing I did in here, as you can, if you can see the shiny bits in there, I got some, where is it? This glossy accents. And just put a little bit in the middle, and it just adds a little bit of something to it. And of course this is just sealed right back up. Give it a little poke with my X-Acto knife. There we go. Okay, so you just want to, with the glossy accents, I tend just to put a little pile in the middle and then just rotate it around, and that gets all the little bits of air out of it. Same with this one. So work from the center and all the way around. Just a little bit there in the center. There we go. So that's all we need to do for that card. I think it's a nice way to make your stamps stretch a little bit further than just summer. And yeah, hopefully you'll give this one a try. I will list everything that I used to make this card, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit the thumbs up icon and consider subscribing. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye bye.